Yesterday I posted a video of motivation, I'll put it up there, on bringing light into dark places, on when you're feeling empty and devoid of the divine presence, a technique, kind of, for letting in tiny slivers of light in order to sustain you. But there's a caveat here, there's an issue here, there's a flip side, and the flip side is this: you could technically spend your entire life on empty, only letting in tiny slivers of light in order to sustain you and nothing more. And you can find yourself thinking that you're doing all right when in fact you are just mired in self-condolence and self-pity. And you find yourself just barely scratching the surface of existence as it should be. Now, it's not just about sustaining oneself, and I'm not talking about people who are clinically depressed or anything. I'm talking about people who are, let's say, for all intents and purposes, not mentally ill, not chronically or otherwise depressed, but sometimes they feel empty. Now, if you're feeling empty all of the time, that you can't function, that actually may be depression. I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, but I do know that there are times when you need to let in those slivers of light, when you're feeling very vacant. But the idea is that you let it in for a time so you can regroup and carry on with your work. You cannot let the work remain undone while you are busy consoling yourself. That's not the way to go about it. That's no way to live. If you do that for long enough, it'll catch up with you. You will find yourself in places that you do not want to be. The idea is to do things, it's twofold. It's, on the one hand, understand that you are fragile and weak and accept it. And on the other hand, accept your divinity and your ability to transcend all of those things for the greater good in order to complete the task that you were given in this life. Right? There's God, who is the creator of light, and there's Lucifer, who is the bringer of light. Because in the light, two things happen. It's twofold. On the one hand, you're aware of all of your flaws in the light, because you can see every tiny thing. And how can it not bring you down? On the other hand, in the light, you can see further. You don't have to always be looking at your immediate and insufficient self. You can look further out to what you can do. Right? Righteousness is wrought one step at a time, one deed at a time, one word at a time, one thought at a time. It's not something that happens, boom, overnight. And if it does, you still need to keep working at it, or it could go away just as easily. Right? Righteousness is something that you acquire sometimes through suffering, maybe even most of the time, because we all suffer to a degree. But it's through action. More than anything, it's probably action, and with intent, but mainly with action, because we all have intent. Now, so what I want to say is this: if you're running on empty, console yourself, and if you need to, pity yourself to a degree for some time, you know, at the rate that you want to, at the rate that you can do it, at the rate that you have to, because we all have to sometimes. But never forget that you have a job to do. Because that's the second part of this story. It's not just, I'm human, I'm fragile, well, what can I do? I'll console myself with things that I did that were actually good, and maybe even if they had some ego in them, that's okay too. No, there's a second part, which is, and I need to go and work anyway. I need to go, I have a job to do. Right? Bob Marley, what did he say? I'm a living man, I've got work to do. That's what it is. We all have work to do, and we need to get on with it.